Hello and welcome to this how-to video. Today we're going to be talking about adjectives or not. So when we're looking at words that are sometimes adjectives and sometimes not, we're going to focus on how we can know the difference. Alright, here's the key. Adjectives modify nouns. Let me say this very clearly. Adjectives modify nouns. That's all they do. They're a one-trick pony. All they do is modify those nouns. And they answer three questions, which are what kind, which one, and how many. Okay? So that's what adjectives do, and they only do that to nouns. So let's take a look at some examples. Alright, dinner was amazing. So if we look at this, we've got dinner, that's a noun, it's the subject of our sentence. Was is a linking verb, and linking verbs, they either rename the noun or they connect it to a word or words describing it. In this case, amazing is describing dinner, and since it's modifying a noun, that makes it an adjective. The hot soup tasted so good. Well, that's a definite article. Always. The is always a definite article. Hot is telling us what kind of soup it was. Alright, so that makes hot an adjective. It's modifying a noun, which is soup. Alright, soup tasted. And in this case, the soup is not tasting, it's being tasted. So this is actually a linking verb. One of the rare times that tasted is a linking verb. And then how did it taste? Well, so good. Okay, the soup is good. So tasted is linking good back to the soup, which makes good an adjective. And so is modifying good, and since it modifies an adjective, that makes it an adverb. But in this sentence, we've got two adjectives and one definite article. And they are all, every single one of them, is modifying the same noun, soup. Alright? Every diner loved it, everyone had seconds. Now I put this one in here because sometimes adjectives and pronouns are very similar. Now in this case, every diner. Every is telling us how many of the diners. Okay, since it answers the question how many, that makes every an adjective. Diner is our noun. What they did, well, they loved it. Okay, that's our verb. It is what they loved, and that's a pronoun. Okay? Everyone had seconds. Now in this case, everyone is a pronoun. It's also the subject of our sentence. Had in this case, sometimes it can be a helping verb, but it's not helping any verbs. So here it's an action verb, and then they had seconds. So seconds is a noun. Alright? The only adjective here is every, which tells us how many diners loved it. Everyone, even though it has every in it, is part of a pronoun. Okay? So in that case, it's acting like the subject of that sentence. It's a pronoun. It represents something. It's not modifying a noun. Let's look at this last sentence. This one gave some people some trouble on the test. Alright, that's a definite article. And then Florida lemons. Alright, now Florida is a state. It's a place, so it's a noun. But in this case, Florida is being used to describe the lemons. It's telling us which lemons or what kind of lemons. And so that makes Florida, in this case, an adjective, and these are technically called proper adjectives. Alright, we take a proper noun and we use it to describe another noun, in this case, lemons. They're Florida lemons, so Florida, in this case, is a proper adjective. So we need to look out for that. Just because you see something that's usually a proper noun, in the sentence, if it's modifying a noun, it's actually a proper adjective. So watch out for that. Okay? What did they do? Well, they made a big difference. So made is our verb, a is an article, and big is modifying difference. Okay? Big is a adjective here. It's telling us what kind of difference. Alright? So difference is a noun. It's something that they made. They made a difference. It's an idea. Alright, so in this last sentence we've got our proper adjective Florida, and then we've got the adjective big, which is modifying difference. Let's do a few more. Did you see those huge grapes? Alright, now in this case, let's not try to do the whole sentence if we don't have to. Let's just look at the nouns. All right, we've got you as a pronoun. Okay, now those right here, did you see those? This is actually an adjective. Okay, this is a demonstrative adjective. These, those, this, and that can either be demonstrative pronouns or demonstrative adjectives. In this case, they are answering the question, which grapes? All right? So they are acting, those is acting like an adjective. Okay? And we also, these grapes are being described as huge. Okay? Huge is also an adjective describing the grapes. Okay, let's look at this second sentence. California grapes are my fave. Okay, so right here it's about these grapes, so that's the noun of our sentence. California is another example of a proper adjective. Normally, California would be a proper noun. But in this case, California is used to describe the grapes. Since it's describing the grapes, it's a proper adjective. Proper adjectives modify nouns. All right, they are my fave. Are is a linking verb here. My, that's a possessive pronoun, and those are always adjectives. All right, and they are my fave, so that makes fave a noun, and it's what the grapes are. They're my fave. Okay, let's go to the next one. We had several types for lunch. All right, we here is a pronoun. Had is our verb. And remember, had sometimes can be a helping verb, but in this case, it's not helping any other verbs, so it's just an action verb. Now, several types for lunch. Several can sometimes be an indefinite pronoun, but right here, it's telling us how many types we had. So in this case, it's an adjective. You really want to watch out for those indefinite pronouns, and then those demonstrative pronouns as well. Those is an example. Because if they are modifying a noun, they're an adjective, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're acting like pronouns, and so you really need to be careful when you see those types of words. All right, speaking of types, that's a noun, and then for lunch is a prepositional phrase. So we've got our preposition and then our object of the preposition, which is a noun. All right, last sentence. Several were freshly picked. Now notice the word several again. Here, several is an adjective. But right here, several is being used as an indefinite pronoun. All right? So it's replacing the words maybe grapes or several grapes. Instead, we're just saying several. And they were freshly picked. So were in this case is a helping verb. It's helping picked. Okay? So that's our action verb. And then freshly is telling us how they were picked. And so that makes it an adverb. All right? So in this case, this sentence down here, several, is a pronoun. Up here, it's an adjective. It all depends on whether or not it is acting like a noun or if it's modifying a noun. So you really want to watch out for that. All right, last one, and this is just for fun. This girl is unhappy. All right, this right here, that could be a demonstrative pronoun, but in this case, it's telling us which girl, and it happens to be this girl right here. Well, she is unhappy. So this, in this case, is a demonstrative adjective. All right? Girl is our noun, is our linking verb, and then what is she? Well, she's unhappy. So in this case, unhappy is modifying the girl, which makes it an adjective. All right? She insulted a TV persona. Well, she is a pronoun. What did she do? She insulted. A is an article, and then TV persona. Well, TV right here is normally a noun, but in this case it's telling us what kind of persona. So TV in this case is going to be an adjective. All right, and then persona, well, that's a noun. Okay, referring specifically to Dr. Phil, who does not look like this at all, unless maybe we gave her like a Dr. Phil mustache and she was like, okay, but that's not the case right now. So she insulted a TV persona. Now she is internet famous. All right. Now in this case is our adverb because it tells us when she is internet famous. She, that's a pronoun again. She is. Now, is could be a helping verb, but in this case, it's not helping any other verb, so we know it's a linking verb. All right, she is internet famous. Now, this one's tricky because she is being described as famous, right? And since she is a pronoun, that makes famous an adjective. But she's internet famous. Well, what kind of words modify adjectives? Well, adverbs, of course. And you're thinking, how could internet be an adverb? Well, it's telling us to what extent she's famous. She's not just locally famous. She's not just state famous. She is internet famous. And all she had to do was go on Dr. Phil and say some crazy stuff. And it worked. All right, so how about that? Well, how about that? You're going to love this. Is an interjection. That's right. The whole thing. This whole deal right here is an interjection. Just like saying aha or wow. Okay? And I'm not going to say it like she says it. I'm just going to say how about that? That is an interjection. So let's review because you really need to know. Adjectives modify nouns. That's what they do. They modify nouns. Say it with me. Adjectives modify nouns. They're crazy about it. It's all they want to do all day, every day.